Hey guys, Ryan here. So, today I have an awesome video for you guys. I'm going to go through every single volume of One Piece that's currently out right now. And that goes until volume 110. So let's get started. Alright, so we got the first volume here. And yeah. So yeah. I love One Piece. It's amazing. And this is where it all started. So yeah. So basically, the premise of One Piece is this. There's this boy named Monkey D. Luffy who eats the devil fruit, and devil fruits in the world are superpowers, but then if you eat it, you gain a power, but then you lose the ability to swim. So, yeah. So Luffy eats the devil fruit, which was found by Shanks, his friend, who's a pirate captain. And basically, he gains the power of the gum gum fruit. And he's able to stretch like rubber. Kind of like Mr. Fantastic, but in its own way. So, yeah. I've been a fan of One Piece for quite some time. I haven't always been a fan. Like, I started in 2017. I heard this song. And I was like, that's a really good song. Maybe I should check out the anime. So I did, and I was hooked, like by the first episode, no joke. And it just kept getting better and better, and I've been a fan ever since. I haven't read or seen all of One Piece yet. Of course, it's still ongoing, but yeah. Okay, so I absolutely love the art style. The art style actually changes over time, and the characters progress, and you learn about them. And there's many backstories in One Piece, right? So yeah. So here's Volume 1 with Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, Roronoa, Zoro, and then Nami. And this is where it all starts. So we got Luffy pointing and ready for his next adventure. So that is Volume 1. Here is Volume 2. We got Buggy and his crewmates that run into him where he destroyed this town and is causing havoc to all the villagers there. But Buggy's interesting because he also ate a devil fruit. You meet many devil fruit users in this, and yeah, so basically he defeats Buggy. Buggy can like move his body parts around, and if he gets cut, he can just he'll be fine because he can just remove that body part and then like reattach it. So yeah, there's the back with Volume 2 giving a peace sign and also the number 2, which signifies Volume 2. But yeah, so there's that. Buggy's a fun character and an enemy to Luffy. And then we got Volume 3 with Zoro and Luffy with the gold and red jacket, which looks really cool. There's the back with Luffy opening his hands. Next up we got is Volume 4. And yeah, we got Klahadore, aka the Butler, or Captain Kuro, the villain. This is where you meet Usopp, and we also meet Nami early on, and she's basically trying to get as much gold as she can, so that way she can pay back for her village being hostage by Arlong. But I'll get to that when we get to that point. Anyways, it's interesting with all the fights that happen in this little town. And Captain Kuro wants the treasure from, I think her name was, let's see, what was it? Should say in here. Yeah, her name was Kaya. And she likes Usopp. So yeah, that'd be cool if like they got married or something in the series after Luffy finds the One Piece or something. But anyways, yeah, so Luffy's after the One Piece, which is like the biggest pirate treasure ever. And Goldie Roger is the one who found it. But yeah, Luffy sets out on an adventure, and yeah, I absolutely adore the art style. It's amazing. Like Oda is clearly the best at what he does. He's the creator of One Piece, Ichiro Oda. There's Luffy with some ice cream. We have Usopp, Kaya, and the gang. So there's that. Yeah, it's great when Luffy is able to defeat Captain Kuro, because Captain Kuro has like these kind of like Wolverine talons, and so yeah, very cool stuff. Next up, we got is Volume 6. We got them all in black kind of clothing here. So there's that. Here's the back with Luffy jumping in with a bunch of floaties. Of course, he can't swim, and they don't want him to jump into the water, but he tries anyways. Alright, next up we got is Volume 7 with Sanji. This is where we meet Sanji with the Bratier arc, which is really good. There's Luffy on the back. Love it. I like how the shark's eating meat right there. And yeah, we get some really cool backstories with like Sanji and Chef Zeph. So yeah. They make a lot of movies for One Piece, which is really cool. So yeah. Anyways, we got Volume 8 here with Don Krieg, who attacks the restaurant floating ship that's in the water. And it's an epic fight with the Straw Hats, Sanji, who's not part of the crew at this point in time, and then all the restaurant workers, all the chefs. And then we got Luffy there eating some meat. So yeah, very cool. And then it's interesting how like Don Krieg's underling fights Sanji. It gets pretty heated and emotional. And I think his name is Ging. He basically is conflicted because Sanji gave him a food when he was starving. They went out to the Grand Line, which is where the One Piece is, and they got completely defeated. They ran across Mihawk, who actually comes back and like takes them down. I think they ran into Mihawk, or if not, Mihawk comes to the Bratier then, and then cuts down their ship, and then like it's all this chaos and stuff, and all these things happening and whatnot. But yeah, okay. So it's very emotional when Sanji leaves the Bratier to go along a pirate adventure with Luffy. All right, so the next volume we got here is with Nami, and this is the Arlong Park arc, and this is still during the East Blue Saga. The stories are divided by story arcs, so yeah. But yeah, I love this. All the covers look so awesome, and the art style is so great. But it gets very emotional with Nami's backstory and everything happening. Like, she's like crying, and Luffy puts the straw hat on her head and basically declares that he's going to defeat Arlong for her. And yeah, it's quite the adventure going on for One Piece. Here's the back with Luffy with a fish. Next up we got is Volume 10. So this is the Arlong Park arc. And here's the back with the Straw Hat crew at this point in time. Sanji's not on this, but he's also part of the crew at this point in time. But the fishermen are interesting and really hard to defeat because they can swim underwater and be on land at the same time. So if you're caught in the water, it's very dangerous with them around. Alright, And then we got volume 11. We have them with a pink chair and all the Straw Hats crew around Nami. Very cool. Here's the back with the Going Merry. And yeah, they get a pirate ship called the Going Merry. And yeah, it's their first pirate ship. It's a great pirate ship. They got it from Kaya. So Kaya owns a mansion and is well off. So they're able to, since Luffy and the gang saved the town, they gave them the Going Merry ship, which is awesome. And yeah, we're getting into the, what was it? So yeah, all right. So next up we got is volume 12. We're getting into the Logue Town or Rogue Town, depending on which version you are watching or reading, Japanese or English or another language. But yeah, so they go to that town, and that's where Gold Roger got executed and declared to the world of where One Piece was, or not necessarily where it was, but like declared that it was in the Grand Line. So yeah, this is East Blue Part 12 and Baroque Works Part 1. They have to go up like this, like a water kind of like mountain that goes up, and they have to get their Going Merry and go through that to get to the Grand Line, so that way they can find the One Piece. Alright, next up we got is volume 13. We got the Baroque Work Agents. We have Vivi, who's undercover with the blue hair, who's trying to save Alabasta. And there's going to be a war that's going to be happening that's like set by Sir Crocodile, who pretends like he's good, but he's really not. He's really bad. He's the villain of that arc, and the whole story arc. So yeah, we have Luffy with a fish, and he's catching him with some meat. Nice. Alright, next up we got is volume 14. We have Mr. 3, the girl who can paint, and Mr. 3 with his wax powers. And in the live action version, we're actually getting these characters in the story in that part of the show for season 2, which comes out on March 10th, which is really exciting. It's not too far off. But anyways, here's the back with Nami and a seagull, or just a bird that likes to deliver the news. And it's interesting when like Luffy becomes wanted and they have wanted posters and the bounties go up higher and higher as they go along in their adventure. Alright, next up we have is volume 15. We got the Giants from Elbaf. And I believe we get to go to actually get to go to Elbaf, which is really cool. I'm not at that point in time in the manga or the anime, but yeah. So yeah, Usopp is super inspired by these giants that are brave warriors that battle each other and fight and all that. And Usopp wants to become a brave warrior of the sea. So in Logue Town, when they set off on their adventure to the Grand Line, before they go up Reverse Mountain, they basically just say that what they want to do, like what their dream is. Luffy wants to become king of the pirates. Zoro wants to become the best swordsman in the world. Nami wants to create a map of the whole world. Usopp wants to become a brave warrior of the sea. Sanji wants to find the All Blue. So yeah, great dreams and great goals. Alright, and then we got volume 16. This is where we meet Chopper. Very nice. We have Dr. Hiruluk right there. Here's the back with Vivi and Nami. Very nice. Beautiful. And the backstory with Chopper and the Doctor is super emotional. The backstories in One Piece really expand the story, give a lot of meaning to things, and it all ties in together beautifully. Alright, so next up we got is volume 17. We got Wapple, who likes to eat anything, man, like houses, boats. He has the Munch Munch fruit, which gives him powers. And yeah, this is the point in time where Chopper joins the crew as the doctor. He studies medicine. So yeah, yeah, Luffy saves Sanji and all that, and then the Lady Doctor basically lets Chopper go and go on an adventure, and the cherry blossoms start like pouring down, and that reminds him of his past with the Doctor, which is very emotional. So yeah, all right. Moving along here, we got volume 18, and yeah, this is the Baroque work arc. And yeah, we got Firefist Ace, which is Luffy's older brother and only brother. We got Vivi, Nami, and the rest. They're going through the desert. So yeah, they're going through the desert. They have little water. It's very hot. And they're trying to stop a war from happening. Alright, so moving along here, we got volume 19. And yeah, we have like the Luffy in the middle, looking like Sanji, which is fun and funny. And I love the color spreads in One Piece. You get these art books, these color walk compendiums, and they have like all the color work kind of illustrations. So yeah. Alright, so yeah, I love the color walks. You get all the colored artwork in those from all these covers from the back. And just like all, like literally all, everything that Oda colors gets put into the compendiums, which are definitely worth it if you're a fan of One Piece and the art. But yeah, there's this villain, Bon Clay, who can like touch somebody and they can transform to look just like them. So he pretends to look like the king and acts like he's the king, and that causes chaos and like basically starts a war. Okay, so here's the back. There's like a cheetah, tiger kind of thing, kind of creature with Luffy and Nami. Awesome. All right. Next up we got is volume 20. We got Karoo in the middle. We have Luffy, Smoker, Vivi's friend who is leading the rebellion. We have Sir Crocodile, and then we got the king of Alabasta. So yeah, man, it gets pretty interesting. They're all trying to stop a war. There's all these fights happening between them and the Straw Hats, and yeah, so it's very interesting. Luffy fights Crocodile a few times. He keeps getting defeated. He keeps getting beat down, but Luffy doesn't give up. All right, next up we got is volume 21 here with the Baroque work agent, Sir Crocodile. We got Nico Robin, which is the first time you're seeing her in this arc. And then, yeah, basically if you put this together, so yeah, if you put this together, you get this, a full, so yeah, if you put these together, you get a full image between the Straw Hat crew versus the Baroque work agents and Crocodile. So yeah, here's the back, 21. We got Luffy jumping into the water again with everyone being like, no, Luffy, don't do that, kind of thing. And then on the back of this, we have them doing kind of karate. Looks like a movie poster. But I love how there's like a camel on here. That's pretty funny. Alright, next up we got is volume 23. This is the very last volume of Baroque work. This is the very end of the Alabasta saga, which is so epic, man. And yeah, so I can't wait for season 2 and season 3 of the live action because they'll be covering this stuff. That'll be awesome. But it gets so emotional, especially at the very end, where they're all lifting their arms with the X on their arm to signify, you know, who they are and their friendship with Vivi, and they're leaving, and it's emotional, and Vivi's crying, and they have to go because the Marines are after them, but they saved Alabasta, and they defeated Crocodile, and they stopped a war from happening, and yeah, it is just so freaking epic. I love it. And yeah, she says, I love this kingdom, so I can't go. And there it is. There it is. So yeah, that is really cool seeing that. It's very emotional, but amazing as well. And I can't wait till I get to the point where I can read and see Vivi again, because she actually returns in the manga. Alright, so next up we got is Skypiea. And this is volume 24. This is Jaya and Skypiea. We got the Monkey Brothers. We got Bellamy, Luffy, Nico Robin. Now, Nico Robin is part of the crew. She joins after the end of the Baroque work Alabasta arc. And then on the back, we got Monkey D. Luffy and Vivi. But yeah, we're getting close to the Sky Island. The scale of One Piece is amazing. The world is so expansive and immersive and amazing. So, yeah, Luffy defeats Bellamy, though, because he's causing problems. And it's pretty epic to see that happen. Alright, and then we got volume 25. We got Shanks, Buggy, Blackbeard, Luffy, and then one of the Marines' goat that he likes to eat money for some reason. And then we got the back with Luffy and kind of like a sea creature and some water. But Blackbeard and Shanks meet, and it's pretty epic. They have like the power of hockey and stuff. So there's Edward Newgate, or aka, so there's Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard. And then next up, we got volume 26. So yeah, this is the Skypiea arc. They get wings made by Nolan. And his ancestors kind of like went to Skypiea and stuff. And there's this emotional backstory with the Shandians and the Skypians and stuff. But when they get there, it's like says, welcome to heaven. There's this old lady that lets them through. And there's like this fruit that they drink that's very unique. They say like this one phrase, which means like hello, but it's like a different word in their language. And yeah, so there's the back. There's like these priests that work for Eneru, who becomes the god of Skypiea and wants to rule the whole world, actually, and which is not good because he's very bad, very, very bad. But here's the back. Usopp is like doing some artwork of a bird. Very cool. And yeah, speaking of that, with 27, volume 27, we have the priests and all their fights. Luffy has some wings because everybody there has wings who's a Skypian. So yeah, here's the back with them wearing army gear and running, hustling. And yeah, it's interesting seeing the fights with the Straw Hats between the priests and then Luffy and Eneru, because they kind of cancel each other out. Eneru can do electricity powers. Luffy is rubber, so it doesn't actually do anything to him. And then we have volume 28 with the Skypians and the Shandians and that whole backstory, which is very emotional, which is a common theme in One Piece. We got the London kind of area for this artwork here. And then we have like these snakes that are known as kamis, or aka gods, that are treated as such. Luffy gets inside one but has to escape. There's all these things happening with Eneru, who's taking like Nico Robin and Zoro because he wants them to join his new world or whatever his master plan is. And then we got the back with some pink kind of leaves. And then we got Conus, the old god, the old kami, who had to retreat because of Eneru, who wanted to become the new king. Speaking of Eneru, here he is with volume 30. And Luffy's pumped up and ready for a fight. There's one really cool moment where Sanji like just stands there and takes on Eneru. But Luffy says, Luffy, what did you do to my crew? And then Eneru says, which pieces of garbage are you referring to? That really sets Luffy off. So yeah, Volume 31 gets really emotional with the backstory between these two characters because no one has to leave. The people of the Shanians declare that he has to leave, and then they never see each other again, unfortunately. But yeah. Okay, so and then yeah, they're leaving this Skypiea land, and the people there want to give them a bunch of gold, but they think that they're being chased down for being there, for being pirates. So they could have got a ton of gold from that. I mean, they did take some gold, because there's like this in Skypiea. There's like this area of just gold, pure gold. But anyways, that's kind of funny. Here's the back with the rainbow creatures and them playing musical instruments. Very fun. There's also this thing called the SBS, and it's like a Q&A with Oda. All right, so we have Volume 33. We got Foxy and Luffy. And yeah, there's this Davy back challenge that basically the captain, Foxy, basically he challenges Luffy, and if they lose a crew member. If they keep losing, they lose more crew members, and it just gets worse and worse. But it's kind of like a sports little arc. There's this island they go to that is on called the Long Land something. And it's fun seeing these games because it's really cool. It's like sports, but in One Piece. But there's this moment with Chopper and Zoro, and Chopper is crying, and Zoro's like, man up, and then Chopper actually does man up. So that was cool to see. But yeah, anyways, we got Volume 34. This is Water 7, and then after that, it's Enies Lobby. These are my favorite arcs so far in One Piece. Water 7 and Enies Lobby. They are so good. The City of Water, Water 7. So there are, so there on the back, you can see a train that's in the sky with the moon in the background. Very cool, very creative. But yeah, we have the shipwrights, we have the mayor, and his name is Iceberg. And they're trying to assassinate Iceberg. And then there's this thing with Nico Robin happening with her past and them trying to take her and have her do bad things. And so all these like things happening, like the Going Merry is too damaged to go on, but Usopp doesn't want to give the ship up because it means so much to him. And then Frankie appears here. And speaking of Frankie, with Volume 35, there it is. Usopp taking on Frankie. But there's so many emotional things happening, and the backstory with Frankie and Tom. I think his name was Tom. The guy that looked after Frankie when he was a kid. I love this artwork here on the back, by the way, of them sky diving. All right, and then we got Volume 36. This gets very heated and a lot of fights happening. The shipwrights that are working are actually CP9 members that work for the world government, the Marines. They're trying to basically take Nico Robin, have her be executed for her crimes, but Luffy's not having that. They have to save Nico Robin. That's the mission. And yeah. So yeah. I remember the part where Nico Robin's like, I want to live. So that was very emotional and epic. There's this villain named Rob Lucci, who's a leader of the CP9 members. There's Luffy with the crown and some food, of course. The Pirate King soon to come. And but Rob Lucci, he's a really big threat. He can transform into this creature, which is really powerful. But yeah, here's Volume 37 with Iceberg, Frankie, the Sea Train, and the Straw Hat Crew. This is one of my favorite volume covers ever because of the artwork. And then we got the back with some roosters in the crew. But the world is so expansive, it's so cool. So we got Volume 38. Okay? And there's a sea train, and Nico Robin's on there, and they're trying to stop it. She's like a mermaid, an older mermaid. And yeah, we have Sogo King, which is really Usopp, but yeah. We have Sanji And yeah, there's like a lot of fights that are happening. They're trying to take Nico Robin to Enies lobby to be executed, which is not good, which happened to Frankie's caretaker in his past, unfortunately. So Frankie probably doesn't want to see something like that happen again. But yeah, Frankie teams up with Luffy after the end of Enies lobby, and they get a new ship called the Thousand Sunny. But before that happens, they have to save Nico Robin and defeat Rob Lucci and the CP9 members. So there's the back with them kind of in Japan kind of setting. Alright, and we got Volume 40. Luffy goes into gear form for the first time, gear second, with his jet bazooka powers, which is really cool to see. So there's the back. This is my favorite illustration of One Piece ever, right there. Very cool. It's the back of the manga box set number 2, by the way. So you can see the artwork there, but much bigger. And then we got Volume 41 with Nico Robin's past, which is very emotional, with her mother and the island of, I think it's O'Hara, and like they have like just tons of history and books in a library that gets set on fire, unfortunately. But yeah, there's the back with kind of like a winter setting. So yeah. All right, so moving along here, we got Volume 42 with the CB9 members, with Rob Lucci right in the middle. What a threat. And then on the back, we have like an elephant with, I think that might be like a mammoth. But anyways, yeah, I love that artwork. So cool. All right, so yeah, that's Volume 42. Moving along here, we got a lot of cool fights in that volume, by the way. We got Volume 43 with Chopper going berserk. He can transform, which is really cool, but he kind of lost his sense of reality there. And then we got the back with the chimpanzee gorilla with straw hats. And then the last volume, actually the second to last volume of Water 7. So yeah, we got Nico Robin right in the middle, and this fight is my favorite fight so far in the whole series. It's so good. It's so cool seeing Luffy go head to head with Rob Lucci for the second time, I think. So yeah. And there they are on some watercrafts vehicles, which is very cool. Alright, so we got Volume 45. We got Luffy, Firefist Ace, Blackbeard, Whitebeard, and Shanks. And then Helmipo, and then Kobe. And they become Marines after the beginning of One Piece. But yeah, there's like this little story that's in between that just shows like a picture and like some little dialogue, and it kind of continues through the story, which is kind of cool seeing other characters pop up through that way. And there's also the SBS, which is like a Q&A with Oda. You learn new things about One Piece, which is really cool and always fun. And then we got Volume 46 with Brook. This is Thriller Bark. This arc is 4 volumes in total, but it's basically the Halloween arc of One Piece. And yeah, so you meet Brook here for the first time. There's like this island of zombies and monsters. There's this villain. His name is escaping me at the moment, but yeah, so basically he can steal people's shadows, which is interesting. Basically steals their souls. So they have to, stop him and basically get Brook's shadow back so he can get off the island. Alright, and then we got Volume 47. We got Perona and all the villains from this arc. It should say what the villain's name was. I'm just going to look that up real quick. Okay, so it's Dr. Hogback. And then there's also a Warlord of the Sea, which is basically a pirate that's hired by the Marines to take down other pirates. So yeah, I love Halloween, and this is a fun little arc. Alright, and then next up, there's like this giant, like this monster that gets Luffy's shadow and kind of like becomes his personality. So yeah, he's all pumped up, and then the monster's all pumped up, and the monster's talking about being king of the pirates and stuff. It's kind of funny, but yeah. There's the back. That's very cool. They all have hats. Looks like a movie poster. And then we got volume 49, and they have to save Thriller Bark, the island, from these bad people. Here's the back with some water creatures. Luffy, basically, he swallows all these souls, becomes powered up, turns blue, looks like the Hulk, and takes on some bad guys. There's this one, a warlord of the sea, named Absalom, who can turn invisible, which is Sanji's like dream. And basically, Nico Robin is going to get married to him, even though she doesn't want to. So they have to stop that as well from happening. And then we got volume 50. So this is Sabadi. And there's like this island that's next to the Marines. There's all these pirates on this island, and there's like this ship coater. They're trying to get to Fishman Island. So there's this guy named Relay who can coat their ship in this bubble so they can go to Fishman Island. And yeah. So here's 51. Here's all the pirates that are on the island. Jewelry Bonnie, and many more. And there's like these guys that act like they're above everybody else. These celestial dragons. They kind of are very rude to other people and make them do hard work when they don't want to. And yeah, it's very bad. But Luffy punches one of them, which kind of causes the whole island into chaos. And then Kuma shows up, transports. He has like powers to transport people. He transports all the Straw Hats to different islands, and Luffy ends up in this island of just women, like this jungle of just women. So yeah, we got volume 52 here with Relay, with the Straw Hats, and this is where we meet Boa Hancock. By the way, here's the background with them in a mushroom little area. Alright, and then we got volume 53 with the Island of Women. And yeah, this is like the local Amazons. And Boa Hancock is there. She's the leader of all the women there. And they've never seen a man before, so they're kind of surprised to see Luffy. And Luffy's surprised to be there. So Luffy basically, he has to leave the island. He hides with Boa Hancock and breaks into Impel Down to save his brother from being executed. Because Fire Fist Ace is wanted. He's a wanted man, just like Luffy. So we have volume 54. And yeah, time is ticking down for Luffy to save his brother. But as you can see, like the like desperation in his face right there. This is where I meet Jinbei for the first time, who eventually becomes a Straw Hat. But yeah, here's the volume 55 with Mr. 3, Buggy, who gets put in jail, and Bon Clay, who's there as well. And yeah, Luffy basically runs around. There's like a warden there at the jail, and he breaks out. This is where we meet Ivankov. We get their help to escape. Jinbei helps as well. So yeah, that's Impel Down. And now we're moving on to Paramount War, which is very emotional, very intense. We have Whitebeard right there. Luffy trying to save his brother in time. And we have a summer kind of illustration here. Very cool. Alright, and we got volume 58. We have the admirals. We got Luffy there with holding like a part of the ship. We have Luffy's grandpa Garp, and then another marine leader there. So yeah, there's the back with it looks like they're just hanging out with some little elephants. Very nice. And then we get this part, which is very sad. And yeah, very emotional stuff between Luffy and Ace. And Whitebeard as well. Yeah, you don't see many deaths in One Piece. You see a lot of people getting defeated, but they don't actually die. So, yeah. And yeah, very emotional stuff, without a doubt. Alright, and then we got volume 60. And yeah. It's the last volume of Paramount War. We get the backstory with Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, which is interesting. The three band of brothers. And then here's the back with them playing, looks like sports, with Frankie catching like a fireball. That's cool. And then we got volume 61. So yeah, this looks just like volume 1, but the New World version, which is really cool. It's very cool to see. One of my favorite volume covers ever. It's so awesome. But this is 2 years after what happens in Paramount War with Ace's death and the Whitebeard's death. And yeah, they reunite and they go on to the New World. Alright, then we got volume 62. Their ship gets coated by Relay. They're able to go to Fishman Island. So yeah. It's very colorful. I love the look of this volume. Here's the back. The nighttime kind of vibe. And then we got volume volume 63 with the queen and then the princess of Fishman Island. And there's these fishermen there causing a lot of problems. There's this guy named Hody Jones. Zoro fights him. Luffy fights him. But yeah, he's pretty dangerous. We got volume 64 here. And One Piece is just, it's my favorite series ever. It's so good. And then we got volume 65. We got Hody Jones in the background with Luffy going at it. Here's the back, which looks like a movie poster. Alright, here we are on to volume 66. Lovely cover here. We got Jinbei and Tashigi and Smoker. And then on the back, you have a bunch of monkeys with Monkey D. Luffy, which is perfect. We got volume 67. So yeah, here it is. This is like Punk Hazard kind of stuff. So after they defeat Hody Jones and all the fishermen, they go to Punk Hazard, and there's like this evil scientist there who Luffy takes down and then takes him into captive. So here's volume 69. There's the back with a Halloween kind of setting there. Very cool. And there's like this big threat, Doflamingo, who is like king of Dressrosa basically. And Luffy has to defeat him. Luffy goes into Gear 3 for the first time. And yeah. Luffy goes into Gear 3 for the first time, so yeah. Alright, and in the back here we got a bunch of the characters from One Piece. Very cool. So, now we're getting to like the tournament kind of setting of Dressrosa. Luffy and the crew have to wear disguises so they don't get found because they're wanted men. And some of the Straws get separated and whatnot, so like they have different storylines going on. But yeah, like this guy recognizes Luffy. Sabo returns after like years after Luffy not seeing him since he was a kid. Who wants the devil fruit of the fire power. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, there's like Rebecca, the gladiator. There's like these toys that are transformed into toys that are actually people, and then people forget who they are, which is not good. And then we got the back with a rainbow, very cool, like a swing in the sky. And then we got volume 73. We have Law, Trafalgar Law, who can like make people's body parts separate, and he can like switch things around, and he has interesting devil fruit powers for sure. There's the back with kind of like a bar for One Piece. And then, yeah. Alright, I just realized I missed a volume. So here's volume 68 with the scientists that I was talking about that they have in captivity to draw out Doflamingo from Dressrosa. That's cool. They're in like a teacup, like in London. Alright, so we got volume 74 with this girl that has his power to transform people into toys. Usopp defeats her, luckily, and then they all get transformed back into humans. Here's the back, which is like a snowy kind of setting. So we got volume 75. This guy is insanely tough. Zoro has to fight him. He basically becomes like this giant part of the land, and Zoro has to cut him down. But yeah, stunning artwork on this. So good, so colorful and fun. And I also had to wear my One Piece shirt today for this, specifically. Anyways, 76, volume 76. It's cool. I have so much story for One Piece, and it's still going. It's still ongoing, which is awesome. We have like a spiral of characters there. Very cool. And then we have the Straw Hats on the back. Very nice. Alright, so moving on here, we got volume 77 with Doflamingo. And he can basically like control people. It's pretty creepy. So yeah, there's the back. Them going up a giant vine with a bunch of horses and a bunch of the characters. Very cool. But this guy's super tough. Doflamingo's super tough. They're all super tough. So Luffy has to go in gear 3 for the first time, I believe. I think it's gear 3, yeah. So yeah, here's volume 78. Love that. We have all the little people here. I'm forgetting what they're called, but they're like a group of people. But yeah, anyways, here's the back. Alright, moving on here, we got volume 79. This is the last volume of Dressrosa. And Luffy defeats Doflamingo finally, after all the crimes that he did. Alright, and then we got volume 80. So I've read up until this point. Yeah, I'm not sure where I put 81 and 82, but yeah, they are part of my collection. But yeah, I'll just show the rest of the volumes here. I don't have too much to say because I haven't actually read past this point or seen past this point. But yeah, 83 with Big Mom and Whole Cake Island. Cool. And then 84 with Sanji and Luffy. I think you get Sanji's backstory here. More of his backstory with his family, actually. There's the back. And then we got volume 85 with Sanji's siblings there. There's the back with them in blue for the anniversary of One Piece. 86. I think Sanji gets married here or something. Very cool. There's the back. And them playing football. 87. Big Mom going at it. And that villain, whatever his name is. And then we got the back. Moving along here, we got volume 88. So yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about One Piece. This is a really cool cover, by the way. Like the shards of glass are like the characters. Or they're inside the shards of glass. So there's the back, super colorful and fun. One Piece is a ton of movies, There's so much of it to enjoy. It's amazing as a fan because it just goes and goes. And yeah, here's 89. There's the back. So how I collected most of this was actually through manga box sets, which save you money. You get a cool box. You get posters. You get extra stuff. You have a nice little box to carry your manga in with that little handle. So we got volume 90. We got VV again. Awesome. Can't wait to get to this point. Rob Lucci's there again, surprisingly. And then we got volume 92 with Wano, the Japan arc. Moving along here, we got volume 93. There's the back. 94. I love the music to One Piece, the voice acting, the world, the setting, the story, all of it is so good. 94. There's the back. 95. So here's 95. We got Shanks. There's the back. All right, moving along here, we got 97. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to see me go through another series, I could go through all of Haikyuu. That would be cool. Got 98. I could go through all of Noragami. I could go through, I don't know, all through Bleach. Here's 99. So yeah, just let me know down in the comments what you want to see. And this is cool. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. So see that? Isn't that awesome? The volumes actually connect. So 99, 100, and 101. So 99, 100. Amazing. Amazing that we made it this far into 100 volumes. We're well past it now. 101 with what was his name? Anyways, he's a villain. I'm sure it'll come to me after I'm done recording. It works like that sometimes. 102. There's the back. That's stunning. Look at that artwork. It's amazing. And then 103. Kaido. His name is Kaido. There we go. Now I remember. And then we got 104 with Gear 5. So yeah, I think it's Gear 4 when he fights Doflamingo. I think I said Gear 3, but I mean Gear 4. And then we have the 4 Emperors, Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and Buggy. Buggy showed up in Volume 2, and he's still part of the story. That's cool. And then we got Volume 105, Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and Buggy. There's the back. And then I got this from my local convention a while ago. But it's the Japan volume of Volume 106. So there it is. I love the look of this. This is Egghead, the future story arc to One Piece. Very nice. They're actually gonna one of the animation studios named Wit Studio that does like Attack on Titan and a bunch of other amazing stuff is basically going to reanimate One Piece and have really great pacing that'll match more closer to the manga, and it'll be awesome. So yeah. And then let's see. So we got 107. Very cool. We got Garp. We got Sabo. We got Kobe, Luffy, and more. There's the back. And then volume 108 with Gear 5. Very cool. One Piece is just consistently good. And I don't know where to put 109. Maybe I didn't get it yet? I don't know. Anyway, I got 110. which is the newest volume. So yeah, over 110 volumes of One Piece in my collection. And we made it to the end, guys. Let me know down in the comments if you made it through all of this. And then I also have this Wanted, Ichiro Oda before One Piece. Very nice. I need to read this. Catch up to One Piece since I'm on around volume 80. One Piece, Ace's Story. Very nice. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you love One Piece, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. And until next time.